Hello everybody and welcome to Warlords of Sigrdrifa, episode 8 anime review. This episode was much of a rebuild, wasn't it? We're starting a rebuild, I should say. Everybody has gone off their separate ways in this week's episode, which is, it could bode... what I can predict what they're going to do is they're going to split them up and then they're all going to come together for the finale. And it's going to be like, oh man, I missed when they were all together, and it's going to be great and stuff. Weird thing, we've only got 4 episodes left. It kind of feels like it took a while to get going, then it got going really quick, and now we're in the build up to the finale already. Kind of weird to think about. Speaking of, I guess I'll get this out of the way early. No episode next week. It's, in case you haven't seen, episode 9 got delayed. Instead, we're getting a recap episode, and then the following week will be episode 9. So, hey, I'm not going to review the recap episode. I probably won't even watch the recap episode because really there's not too much to recap when you think about it. Kind of weird. But anyway, let's get into this week's episode though, see how everything went down, and do this thing. So it turns out the gang actually has an underground secret base, which is wicked cool, it turns out. How did we get here though? Well, 12 hours ago, Pillar went quiet, so they're not in any immediate danger. However, there's tertiaries and all that around. They're still in danger. They figure out they're going to be safe for around 36 hours or so, which sounds like a lot of time, but really, no. 36 hours can go like that, especially in a high-pressure situation like these lads and lasses are in. Planes are still broke. That's not great. A lot of people died. That is also not great. Rossweiser, who is the friend of Claudia, who, thank you for the person who told me it was Claudia's friend that survived last week, she's going to make a full recovery, but she's not quite there yet, so not great at the moment. Next plan is let's retake the airbase, and Azu is like, are you daft? Are you a dafty? Are you silly, man? Because that would be insane. Did you not hear how bad everything is? And he's like, okay, here's the secret base. We got supplies and stuff there. It's like, okay, this is looking all right. As I said, only safe for 36 hours. So they can't just sit around doing nothing. They need to move on with something. These 3, not even 4, these 3 are the only Valkyrie in any decent conditions. So they're kind of necessary for the plans and everything. Yeah. Miyako is all aboard this, frankly, crazy plan, much to Azu's distress, because she's like, this is insane. Claudia is also like, yep, fine, I guess we're in. And Azu is reluctantly like, okay, fine, I guess. Sonika, however, though, will not be participating in this, because not only is she physically wounded from the fight, she is also now emotionally wounded, shot to the heart, because Amatsuka is dead. And that's, that hit her pretty hard. I think that's a fair assessment. In a secret midnight rendezvous, it's probably not midnight, it's probably like 3 a.m. or something. Captain speaks to Azu, gives her a recording, which was taken, I guess it was saved in the cloud from Odin and the general guy talking about Valhalla and that. So, it said something about attachment to Northern Europe, whereas attachment to Asgard has gone down, which I'm choosing that to believe that's why the pillars are here. Like, in Thor, like the movie, like the Avengers, right? You know how they all moved Asgard? Should I say that's a spoiler? It's been out a while, I'm going to say it. You know how they moved Asgard from Asgard to like on Earth, that little area? My guess is there's a kind of thing like that where the pillars and that are moving from Asgard to Earth and they're going to congregate in Northern Europe. It's sort of what I'm thinking. I could be way off, obviously, but that's kind of what I'm thinking. No one really knows what it means though. None of the people in Northern Europe know. Azu doesn't know despite being she's not self-proclaimed, she is a genius, but yeah, so then they're like, right, there's only one person left who could possibly know anything, the only Valkyrie from Northern Europe, and that's Claudia. And I was like, oh, yeah, I didn't even think of that. Obviously, I forgot she was from Northern Europe. I knew she was Europe, but I didn't know, where does Northern Europe start? Answers on a postcard, please. My guess is it's the bit, to the right of the UK. Because I am UK, so I base everything around where I am. I'm bad at geography. I passed geography somehow, but doesn't mean I'm any good at it. Claudia goes to see her friend, and her silence when she tells her that Lily won't be coming back because She didn't get out. Also, her friend like pounced on the glass as well. Just a bit of comedy there before things get serious. Matsuka told Rosvaisa, I forget her actual name. That's like her named name, I think. Matsuka told her that Odin is hiding something and that Claudia is the key, which sort of links into what Azu was saying as well. She says, "What did he leave you with?" And Claudia's like, "I don't know, dude. I have no idea." That's the key to turn the tide. So Claudia is going to have to use whatever MacGuffin she's got to save the world, basically. Claudia leaves to go and think things through, figure things out, and then of course Rosvaisa cries, and she cries a lot. And it hit me a little bit, because it's like, damn, she was being so happy a minute ago, but now she's crying her eyes out, and it's like, you know. Kind of expected Claudia to be just outside the door, so she heard everything, but no, she actually didn't see. She gets back, Azu asks her about, hey, Thor, Asgard, Valhalla, do you know what any of this means? And then she's like, I have magical powers, and the Valhalla gate is always open for you, so I guess she can always open the gate to Valhalla, and that's what she does. There's just the glowing light entrance in the random hallway to get to Valhalla. So yeah, to get to Valhalla, you don't need to do none of that, well, I'm confused, right? It comes into play a bit more later on, but nobody know what Norse mythology is? I guess maybe not, because is Northern Europe where Norse mythology is from? Because later on, Matey Boy says there is no mythology in Northern Europe. So maybe they don't have the mythology and it's just real in this universe. Maybe. Unless I'm getting my locations wrong. People tell me, please, where is Norse mythology from? Because I'm thick and don't remember. For right now, they've sealed the glowy portal to Valhalla, just behind some tape. Yeah, you see that giant glowy thing? Do not enter. There's yellow tape around it, because that's going to stop anyone that wants to go see it. Presumably there's guards there as well. If there isn't, man, that's not very smart. Plans now, either retake the base, which was what they were going to do, or we can go explore the tunnel, the Valhalla tunnel. They're going to split up, is what they eventually decide to do. We're going to do both. So Claudia and Azu going through the tunnel. Miko on her own, not quite on her own. She's got the dude bros to help her out. They're going to retake the base. Sonika, of course, cannot help because, of course, she can't. And then the captain is like, oh, let's all get ready to strike back. And at this point, I was like, they wouldn't kill Miko, would they? They might kill the dude bros, but I think Miko's going to survive. It's going to look like she's going to die, and then everyone's going to swoop in to save the day in the last episode, or something like that. That's kind of how I see it going. Again, no idea, but that's my bold prediction. Claudia and them preparing to set off. Claudia took Dad's katana, so she's going to do some sick sword fighting, I presume. Azu is in some explorer gear, like she's going to explore the rainforest or a desert, but no, she's actually exploring, presumably, some kind of parallel dimension, which, you know, I'm not going to sure it's going to be the same map protection, but, you know, it's better than nothing, I guess. There's also these three dudes who are not the dude bros going with them, and they're just going because they like Azu, and they're like, we're just doing it to spend time with you, and it's like, why are all the dude bros thick? Why are they all stupid? You know? Sono, after they leave, Sonika was also watching discreetly from round the corner. Miko sees her. She says, it's bad luck if I see people off, which is why I didn't say nothing. And it's like, damn, that's not good. And Miko kind of has a go at her. She's like, no, it's nothing to do with luck. She fought very hard. You know, you didn't jinx it. It's nothing like that. She then starts crying again, because Sonika does that a lot nowadays. Why did Big Sis fly? She can't fly anymore. She's too scared to fly. And Miko says, okay, we need to have a talk. You two both fly the same, her and Amatsuka. So if you find the answer to, like, why do you fly, you'll find the answer to why did she fly, and vice versa. Because you're very similar, actually. Miko is, like, so annoying 80% of the time. I say so annoying, she doesn't annoy me that much, but you get what I'm saying. Optimistic we'll go with. But then, like, she just says things, and it's like, why are you, like, actually, like, my mum? Like, Miko. Is Miko my mummy? Is that what's happening here? Yeah, and then she says, like, hey, we can help even if we're not in the air. And I'm like, yeah, but you can help more in the air, though. So I'd say focus on your recovery. Like, get some rest to recover quicker. But no, you can help out the random folk. That works too, I guess. This last section is literally all over the place, so I'm going to be flipping through different points of view. So we start with Team Claudia. They're exploring Valhalla. That's all going on. They're complaining that it's messing with their depth perception or something. Sonika is helping out cooking, helping the civvies with some cooking and everything. These other two girls that she saved come and thank her for saving them. And they're like, I want to be strong just like you, Sonika. And then they leave, and she's like, I'm not strong, and she has a little cry. Miko and the dude bros take off, and the way they're talking is worrying me, because it's very similar to how Amatsuka and her dude bros were talking. And obviously, they didn't quite make it back, no, did they? No, they didn't. So hopefully Miko doesn't die. I think that's where we're at with that now. Valhalla investigation team looking at some murals on the wall and everything. They started freaking out because they're like, oh, that looks like the dude we saw. So I definitely think there's no Norse mythology in this universe, because they're like, huh, that's weird. What is Thor? And why does he have a hammer? And I'm just sitting here like, bruh, everyone knows who Thor is. He's the guy. He's got the red cape, and he's got a hammer, and he's got long, luscious blonde hair, except when he didn't. So yeah, I'm going to presume that when they said there's no mythology from that area, that means it doesn't exist in this world, Nobody knows about it, which I guess is fine, if not a little bit odd. Where did I get to? Yeah, so they're looking at the murals. Claudia then touches some floating letters and starts singing, and they're not English letters, they're like some foreign language. I don't know what it is. Is it a real language, or is it just made up letters? I don't know. Answers on a postcard, please. She starts singing because it's sort of, she knows that song anyway, and the letters are sort of represent that song, so then she figures it out by touching it. It's all very confusing. Azu has a realization looking at the mural. She's like, that one looks like Odin, and that one looks like Thor. And she's like, maybe this is related to all of them. She doesn't quite get to saying what her theory is, but she has a flash of realization, and then a robot shows up to fight them. Maybe not a robot. Robot might be the wrong word. He's like a defense drone or something. He's got a spear. He's a robot, guys. He's kind of like a robot. Miko and them are also fighting hard. The enemy then fuse into a secondary pillar. It's kind of cool seeing them all to go together. I kind of like how this show uses CG. I don't know if I've mentioned it enough. Like, I'm never really put off by the CG in this show, which is something that, as we're all aware, is very easy for anime to do, is make bad CG. But this show, it's been alright pretty all around. There's not been a part where I'm like, that's bad, It's like, okay, that looks fine, Doesn't bother me at all. Yeah, Miko then is inside the giant tower, I think, because it shows her like flying through all these gears, so I guess she's inside it. And then to make matters even worse, the civvies are all escaping because things are going down. And the woman that Sonika was helped cooking, wouldn't you know it, she just chose now of all times to start having her baby. So I say choose. I know obviously it's not a choice, guys, but it just seems kind of funny that, oh yeah, everything's going to hell on all three fronts. All at once. Kind of funny. And that is where we end the episode. So as I said, yeah, things are looking not bleak, but things are kicking off all around. And we don't have an episode next week, so in 2 weeks we'll see the not conclusion, but see the follow through, I guess. But yeah, that was the end of this week's episode. Kind of enjoyed it, I think this show gets a bad rap, honestly. Like, seeing its scores and that, I think that's too low. I think a lot of people were let down because they had certain expectations, but because of who's working on it, and I don't think, it's a very different kind of show to like ReZero, which is fine, I think it's fine for what it is. I don't think it's anywhere near as bad as people are making it out to be. I wouldn't say I'm getting into it. Like, I'm enjoying more the like what is actually going on. What is Odin hiding? How is this all related? Because I know a bit of Norse mythology, not too much. I will confess, a lot of it comes from, secondhand sources like, Marvel or other things where they show up in, which I know isn't the most accurate representation, of course, but it's better than nothing. So yeah. Anyway, though, what was my favourite part of this week's episode, though, actually was kind of hard to choose, because it was kind of set-uppy, kind of things are going to start kicking off, Not too much big happened in this week's episode, but that doesn't mean nothing happened. Should probably specify that when I say nothing big happened, obviously her opening the gate and them doing a big fight, that's all big stuff, but what I mean is it never got finished, They're still mid-investigation, mid-fight. I mean, like, nothing properly concluded, I guess is a better word for it. But no, my favourite part of this week's episode, I really considered, like, I'm still considering it. Like, I liked the scene with what's her name when she just cried out of nowhere, because it was like, it was almost like so out of nowhere, and that kind of makes sense, because she was like, oh, I'm sort of happy, you know, and then as soon as she was gone, the flood works started. But no, what I went for is just everything kicking off at once. They really ended on a high. Like, boom, there's a robot that's going to fight them. Azu's realised something, but we've got to get past the robot. Are we going to have Claudia fighting the robot with swords? That'd be kind of cool. Of course, the dude bros have guns, but I don't know how effective guns are on Norse robots. Could be wrong, though. Then we have Azu fighting a pillar by herself. The other dude bros, I mean, we didn't see them inside, but they probably are inside too, just in a different location. And then, of course, Sonika gotta help a lady give birth. I don't have much of a statement on that one. That's just, it's almost funny how everything is kicking off at once, you know? I kind of like that. But yeah, no, I'm enjoying it too. I'm curious to see exactly what's happened. I don't think Odin's dead, not for a second. I want to know why the pillars are showing up on Earth. I think we're going to get those answers fairly soon, presumably from the Valhalla investigation team. They're going to figure it out. Will all those dude bros come back alive with them? My guess is no. Azu and Claudia will survive on their own. If I was to make a guess, that's what I would guess. But anyway, thank you everybody for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing and stuff for more reviews. That would help me out a lot. I will see you next week for another episode. No, I won't. I just said there's no episode next week. 2 weeks for another episode of this. Take care and bye, guys.